and especially to newer agents. But today I get the pleasure of teaching you guys all about how to write and receive offers. So, writing an offer on behalf of your buyer and accepting an offer on behalf of your seller. So, at any time, too, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Each time I change a slide, I'm going to look at the chat and just see if there is any questions. Like I said, I don't have a moderator. So normally the moderator is on the Zoom with me and they're answering any questions that you guys have and even like admitting people to the room and stuff like that. So I'm kind of multitasking today, so just bear with me a little bit. But for the people who just joined, my name's Katie Elderkin. I'm the team leader at Keller Williams South Watuppa. I'm also an agent in production as well. I've put my email in the chat so you can follow up with me after this class if you have any questions. Or concerns, and after each slide, because I don't have anyone helping me with this, I will look at the chat and answer any questions. But we're still getting people in, so just bear with me here. I'm just allowing the agents into the room. All right, so a lot of this stuff might be kind of familiar with you guys with certain slides that they have or they show you, and it's a lot of repetition. I know we're supposed to start off with the TCPA. Maybe they end it with it. I'm just kind of fast forwarding over here to our agenda. And then we're going to roll right into a quote. So today's agenda is we're going to go over the offer process. We're going to talk about writing preparing the offer, then writing the offer, presenting the offer, receiving and responding to an offer. And then we can go over any, ahas that you guys have, any questions. And then if we finish early, because this is not a long class, we can kind of just chat after the Zoom. So let's roll right into it. So we have a quote here by Bo Bennett. It says, "I like to think of sales as the ability to gracefully persuade, not manipulate, a person or persons into a win-win situation." So that could mean many things to a lot of people. For me, what I get out of that is throughout your career as a realtor, you should be taking classes and building your confidence. And with all that is going to build your skill to be able to not manipulate your clients, but educate them, talk to your clients about things, and be able to guide them into making a decision that's a win-win for themselves, for all parties, for the realtors, for the sellers, the buyers, for everyone. It's a win-win situation. There are some people out there that don't practice with KW models and it's not a win-win and they might manipulate certain situations. But like I said, the more you guys learn and educate yourself, you'll get more confident and you'll be able to use your skills to be able to guide people in a win-win situation. All right, so now we're going to rock and roll and get into the offer process. So everybody should have a guide in front of them. You all have a guide, so you can refer to your guide. And it would be your participant guide is exactly what it's called. All right, so right here, buyer makes an offer. I've been doing real estate for almost 20 years, and it can only go so many ways. So when your buyer makes the offer, there's only three things that can happen. The seller is either going to counter the offer, they're going to accept the offer, or they're going to reject the offer. And we're going to get, into all these things and talk about it. I'm just going over the process with you. What does it mean if your seller counter offers an offer that comes in? It means that you're going to use your skills and you're going to negotiate to make that a win-win situation for your client. They're obviously not happy with the offer, that came in. It would be if the seller was not happy with the offer that came in, they would counter the offer and you would negotiate. So we got to build our skills on negotiating, which you'll learn, like I said, through education. If you're submitting an offer on behalf of your client, you're hoping that they accept your offer. And I'm going to go over some things with you of what I do to get my offers accepted. And I don't know if you guys talk as a group, if you share ideas. If not, I'll be the one that does the talking, but I do like group things, so we can put that in the chat when we get to it. But like I said, I will be going over winning offers with you. So that's what we hope, is that the seller accepts an offer when we submit it. And then you begin the process from the contract to close, which we'll go over. And then worst case scenario, the seller will reject the offer. And at that point in time, what happens if your offer is rejected? In this market, they're usually going with another offer. And And some people, they just don't like the offer that's submitting. They don't even counter offer it. The numbers are so far off or the terms are so far off, that they don't counter offer. And I love exactly, what it says at the bottom is you don't have to assume that no means no, right? So if you do make an offer on behalf of your client and it is rejected, you can just go ahead and submit another offer right after that. Even if they don't counter offer you and you talk to your client and you want to change the terms, some people think it's like one and done and you can't submit any other offers. That's not the case at all. You can kind of revamp your offer and resend another one over. By law, or at least here in Massachusetts, where we're at, Rhode Island, when we submit an offer, they have to reject it on the other end. You know what I mean? They have a section where it says reject, and you can actually push the realtor to send you that in writing to make sure that they did submit the offer to the client. So again, this is the process when you're making an offer on behalf of your buyer. You're explaining the process to them and how it's going to work out on the other end. It's either going to be a counter where you renegotiate. It's going to be they accept it, or they're going to reject it. Those are the three ways. Does anyone have any questions with that? I'm looking down in the chat. Another thing that you can do, and that I push everybody to do, is you should have a buyer or a seller guide. If you do not have a buyer or a seller guide that goes over the offer process, my email is in that chat. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to get back to you today, but tomorrow, definitely by Friday, I will give you the buyer and seller packets that I have for my clients that I train my office with. You can go on Etsy. You can type in Keller Williams buyer packet. You don't even have to use Keller Williams, but I will tell you it looks very professional. They have some great ones out there. It could be $8, $20. You get it on your computer, you download it, and it is such value. And some realtors, when I worked at Remax, Century 21, we didn't use any of these things. And I will tell you that if I go into an open house or you go into any of my realtors' open houses, a lot of them have these buyer packets out because a buyer walks in unrepresented and now you have value to give them. You're giving them the process right there in front of them from start to finish. You want to separate yourself from all the other realtors that are out there as well. So educate yourself on the process and then get it in writing for your clients. So that they can have a reference of what the process is as well in case they forget everything that you say. All right, so any questions? I'm looking at the chat, no questions. So I am going to move on to the next step, which is going to be preparing the offer. So we discussed the offer process, and now we are going to go over preparing the offer. And I have a lovely checklist up here on this screen. I don't have a guide like you guys have, so you probably have this in your guide. I'm reading right here. It says, yeah, so you guys do. You should have something like this in your guide. So to prepare an offer, what does all this mean? Well, first of all, you want to make sure that the property is still available. In this market, you could see a property on a Friday and on Sunday it might not be available. The market is changing, and depending on where you are, we have some areas around here where the average day on market is 30 days, but in a town next over, like I just listed one last week and I got an offer in 4 days. So every market is different. We should know our market. So you want to make sure that the property is even still available, because if not, you're doing all of this stuff. You're having your client get excited. You're sending them over an offer, and then you go to submit it, and the agent tells you it's the property is not available. So it's great practice for you, but at the end of the day, I don't really think you want practice when it comes to writing an offer. I feel like you want to have the real situation and get it through. So ensure that the property is available. Number 2, you want to build rapport with the listing agent. So if you're working with a buyer and they are not, or you're not available for an open house, do you have to call the realtor on the other end and say that you're sending your client? No, you don't have to. But I do know it builds rapport with them. I had an office meeting today and one of the realtors asked, do realtors still attend open houses with their buyers? Because I had 25 people at an open house and 2 realtors showed up. And I said, and he was all mad. And I said, hey, take a breath, because open houses, yeah, that's kind of what they're for. It It's an open showing and clients can show up. I do know that calling will go a long way and it will build a relationship with that listing agent. But do you have to call? No. It's an open house. Your client can go. We should be attending these with our clients so we know how to negotiate for them. You know what I mean? You want to be able to see the house. Some realtors will tell their clients, hey, this agent didn't even see this house, and the client's making an offer. Um, is that the end of the world to all people? No, but if you're going up against multiple offers, it is good to have everybody see the property. So you want to build rapport with that listing agent, reach out, say hello, introduce yourself, say that you're sending a client. um and if obviously if it's a private showing, then you've already reached out to them. You're not having your client make an appointment for you. That's for sure. Hopefully that's not happening. So you want to build that rapport with the agent. Inquire about activity. That's number 3. So yes, if you go to the open houses, you'll see that you'll see how busy it is. Is it busy? Is it not? You can ask, hey, have you had a lot of activity on this? Can realtors lie and just tell you, oh, I've had so many showings and lie and say all this stuff? Of course they can, but we follow a code of ethics, and you would hope that a realtor isn't doing that. You know what I mean? So they should be truthful and honest when they're talking about the activity on the property. But you should ask that, that way you can better guide your client. Ask if there's any offers. Have you ever had any offers on the property? And if so, why did it fall through? So in MLS, you can actually see market history. Some realtors don't even check that out. I've had a property fall apart 3 or 4 times, and a realtor will make an above asking offer and never once ask why. Some realtors don't know that a property has come back on the market. They don't look at market history. They don't look at days on market. You'd be very surprised. You might be asking yourself, how does that even happen? Some agents are so busy, they're on the fly. They get a call from a client, they go look at it, they see it. They're not even really printing the MLS sheet or any of that. They're just moving kind of quick. And are you really representing your client that the best if that's what's happening? Not really. You should always know the property that you're going to look at. So, see the market history. If the offers fell through by law, if it was from a home inspection, they are supposed to be honest and tell you the reasons as to why the offer fell through. Um, so that's that with that. So make sure you ask about market history. This is a great one. So ask questions about sellers' motivations or needs. So whenever you're making an offer on a property, do you have to do this? No. But when you're calling that seller, hey, thank you for the showing. Again, we're trying to build rapport. You want to be like their best friend. Because people do business with people that they like. So remember that. Always want to be pleasant. If you come off cocky or you come in angry, like a realtor might not want to work with you. And I know it's not up to them, but they share with their clients who's on the other end. So call them, hey, how are you? Such a great showing at 123 Main Street. My clients are going to be submitting an offer, so I just wanted to make sure, is the property still available? You've already looked at market history. You've seen that it's never had, it's never been under agreement before and back on market, so we don't have to ask any of those questions. Hey, how's the activity been? See if they tell you, and then say, what is important to your client? Obviously, I want to submit a winning offer. I want to submit the best offer that you receive. What is important to your client? A lot of people can roll their eyes and be like, obviously the price, money is king, money talks. Not all the time is that the case. And Bruce, I love that you raised your hand. You can go ahead and ask your question.
When you are representing a buyer and they're getting ready to make an offer on a property, do you pull up an RPR just to kind of get the current range, give you an
100%.
idea? Okay.
Great job. So, yeah, so that is actually number 9 on here. But now, and I love questions, so ask questions away all the time. So we have to prove our value more than ever. And I don't know how all the other market centers are ran, but I know that and it's by law, you should be doing that buyer agreement, the exclusive buyer agreement, right? So when you go to sit down with your client and you're explaining your value, we need to know our value now more than ever. So I don't like talk bad about other realtors or anything like that. I'm not doing that, but I might compare a good realtor to a bad realtor. So I actually joke. I say, "Hey, I'm going to show you houses." And people laugh and they're like, "What do you mean?" Like, "Yeah, well, you're going to if you don't, you can sign with me or you can go interview other realtors, whatever your plan is, but there are a lot of realtors out there that say this line, 'Hey, call me when you find something.'" I've heard that so many times by buyers that walk into the open house, and I think that's absolutely crazy. So you want to show your value more than ever. And I'm not getting off topic. I'm circling back to your question is when I meet with my buyers, I know my value. And I'll say to them, I'm going to show you properties. If I cannot attend the property, I'll have an assistant go with you or somebody from my office go with you to the showing because I need to know how to negotiate on your behalf. I don't know about everyone else. If you don't do this full time, then yes, maybe you might have a hard time attending every single showing that they want to do. But I say to them, I'm going to attend showings. I'm going to attend open houses when I can. If not, I'm going to make it a point to try to go if there's an open house on Saturday, but I am going to try to see the properties. I'm going to do a market analysis for you. I'm not doing one for every showing. If my client wants to see 10 houses, I'm not doing 10 market analysis. But I say when you're ready to make an offer. And if it's between one or two properties, whatever it is, of course, I'm going to run numbers for you because I want you to know. I want you to know what the value of this house is today. Because a year ago, we were in a market where people were overpaying for homes. They were offering 50 G's above asking, 75 G's, waiving appraisals, waiving home inspections. I mean, these offers were insane. And I just want my client to know, hey, if you want to do that, that's great. I had some clients that wanted to do that. I'm like, listen, just so you know this, the value of this house in today's market is worth, you know, 525. But with tons of activity and tons of offers, you might see things go above that. And if it does, appraisers, they got wiggle room. They're gonna let this slide. If you call me in a year from now or 6 months from now and you need me to sell it, I might not be able to get you the price that you want because you're very close. You're offering max value. As long as the client is educated and they know what the fair market value is, our job is to guide them. We're never like, hey, you need to offer 600 grand. If not, I'm not writing this offer for you. I've heard people do that before and I cringe. Our job is to guide them. And by guiding them, yes, we should be running numbers. In MLS PIN, if people have access to MLS PIN, we have a thing called RPR, and it actually does a little market analysis for you. We're in the generation now of AI. You can actually go on AI, and I want to kind of school you guys on something, and maybe you guys know this, and if you do, I'm sorry, but we just learned this. We all have Keller Williams emails if you are a Keller Williams agent. You can go over to your Google, like how you log on to Google, and there's all those little meatballs, and maybe there's a better word for it, but I call them little meatballs. There's like 6, 7, 8 of them, whatever. You click on it and it says Gmail, it says Sheets, Docs, it's got all these things. There's something in there called Gemini. Gemini is usually a paid AI subscription that you have to have. With Keller Williams, you get it for free. So it works at a high level for you. It's real estate related. You can use ChatGPT. You can use, there's another one I forget. There's so many of them. Gemini and ChatGPT are the two that I use. And I've gone in and said, I'm doing a market analysis on 123 Main Street, Fairhaven. Please do a market analysis on this property and let me know what it would sell for in today's market. And it does a market analysis for you. So RPR is also something that does value for you as well. You can input information, and even your Keller Williams. We all have websites, right? That should be a lead generation source that you guys use all the time. I tell my agents, post your website once a week on your page for the buying part. There's also something that you can add. It's called "What is my home worth?" That link is pretty spot on. We've done it with a lot of our properties to test it. You can actually type in the client's address in that and see what it comes up for a range as well. That's a guesstimate. But yes, doing a market analysis is something that we definitely want to do when we're submitting offers for clients. Um, and if anybody needs any help or guidance on that, I can do a market analysis in 10 minutes or less. I could probably do one in 5 minutes or less. So if anyone ever wants to chat for 15, 20 minutes, again, email me. And throughout the next week or two, we can do a little bit of training things just to better help you do better with CMAs. All right, so we're asking all the questions about what motivates the sellers. We want to know, is it a big deposit? Is it a quick close? Um, we're going to start seeing that inspections, or at least here in Massachusetts, we cannot talk about home inspections no more. There's going to be a law at the end of the year that's changing. So we're going to see that gone. But for at least for right now, you can write, that your client's having a home inspection. I'm aggressive with my dates. When I'm writing a home inspection for a buyer, I know they have 10 days by law, but I'm getting it done within 5. You know what I mean? I have great relationships with home inspectors. I refer them to clients. We're always giving three or four. We're never making them use one person. You always got to give them multiple options. But I have great relationships with all of them where, we call them, hey, I'm making an offer. Do you have availability in the next few days to get a client in case they call you? I'll call all 3 or 4 of them that my client's going to call and see what they have. Because yes, I'm not waiting 10 days as a buyer agent, and I want my offer to be accepted. So I know a seller doesn't want you to have a home inspection, but it is a great thing to do, and we advise our clients to do them. So yeah, you can do a 2-day contingency. Hey, I got a home inspector that's going in tomorrow. We're going to let you know in 48 hours whether we're buying or selling. The market is shifting a little, so we might not need to be so aggressive. If a property's been sitting on the market for a little bit, you can take your 10 days or your 7 days. But if you're going up against other offers, you wanna be quick with that. Um, so yes, ask them what motivates their sellers. Ask the listing agent how they want to receive the offer. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really do that part. I don't ask the agent, how do you want to get the offer? I guess you can, and maybe I'll start doing that. And what they mean by that is if you're doing DocuSign or Dot Loop, it happens of 2 ways. It either comes as one PDF and you have it as a bulk file, or sometimes they can send them individually. So now you're sending 7 PDFs to the agent and they're getting 7 different documents that they have to download. I just send over one big PDF, and they get it that way as one bundled file. I feel like 9 times out of 10, that's what they all want. But hey, it doesn't hurt to ask them, how do you want to get your offer? It makes it look like, again, you're trying to build this rapport with them and you're going to do what they want, whatever their systems are. This is a big one. Obtain your buyer's pre-approval from a lender. So I would hope that we're not really showing houses to clients that are not pre-approved. I know sometimes it happens, and if it's your first or second client, we'll make exceptions and we'll just roll with it. But especially in today's market, I mean, when a buyer comes to me and they're like, hey, Katie, I want to buy a house. I got pre-approved a few months ago. I'm like, all right, no problem. Send me that pre-approval letter. Because if it shows a date of 3 months ago, I say, okay, great. We're going to start working together. I need you to talk to your lender and get me an updated copy of this pre-approval, because things change in this market. And when you're writing an offer for your client, sellers look for that. They don't want a pre-approval that is 2 months old, 3 months old, 6 months old. And maybe it's not an educated realtor, so they might not look at that. But you can have a problem 3 weeks into it when the buyer realizes that the rates changed and now their mortgage is going to be $500 more. And even though they can afford it, they don't want to go that high. And now they want to get out of the situation. So 100% make sure the pre-approval is like very recent. And if not, just tell them to reach out to their lender, because things change and you want to make sure that they're aware of what their payments are going to be and that they're comfortable with the purchase price that they're going to be offering. Review MLS and tax records. This is great too. Review MLS for disclosures. In all MLS systems, you should have a section that says disclosures. It'll say what's staying, what's not staying. You go write an offer to a realtor and they have something in the disclosures and you didn't read it, and now you're making an offer that they're like, does this person not know how to read? And you might not get your offer accepted because of that. So look in MLS disclosures. They usually have a thing for attachments. Maybe there's other forms that you have to fill out. Some people have a lead paint there, or they have, if it's a foreclosure, they might have an owner occupied form that needs to be signed. So review MLS, see if there's any other information. You can review tax records. I call the building department. So even if you have a cash buyer, we all like, yes, we love them. I had a cash buyer a month ago that made an offer on a property. He was going to flip it, right? And it only needed cosmetic stuff because the seller pulled the permit. I mean, no. The seller replaced the roof, the windows, all these big things, the heating system, right? And so he's like, let's do cash close in 2 weeks. I'm like, all right, no problem. Let me do some diligence. He's like, Katie, get it in. I'm like, I'm gonna. Let me just call the damn building department because I just want to make sure they pulled permits. And surprise, surprise, they didn't. So if my guy would have bought that, he didn't end up buying it because it was going to be a major nightmare without permits being pulled. He was cash, so no one's looking at permits. Banks aren't looking at permits. No one cares. There's no home inspectors. Um, so I know sometimes, like being a great buyer's agent, you think is just getting your client that offer, but your client's going to refer you business and give you repeat business if you're protecting them. And I'm like, hey, stop. Let's look at the building department and see what permits were pulled on any work ever. And there was none. So, that does go a long way where you're caring more about the client and not the paycheck. We went over the market analysis already. So run numbers for your clients on what they're offering and obtain seller's disclosures. Not every state that's mandatory. In Rhode Island, that's a mandatory thing. You cannot sell a house without filling out a seller's disclosure. Here in Massachusetts, it's not. I feel like a seller's disclosure protects you as the realtor. A lot of realtors don't do it because I'm not saying they're lazy, but they're like, oh, it's one more paper. Well, that one more paper is what you're going to look for if in 2 years from now or a year from now, something happens and it's he said, she said. And you're like, oh, well, my client didn't disclose that to me. And your client's like, I told you that. When you have these disclosures in place, it's to protect you, to protect the brokerage against your word, against your clients, to be honest. So if you're not using them, look into it. If you don't know what it is, ask your broker, ask your PC coach, your team leader, what is a seller's disclosure, and they can help you out with that. So this is all in preparation of writing an offer. Does anybody have any questions about prepping for the offer? Um, anything on this section before I move on?
When and where did you start pulling permits? Like, who taught you that? I've never heard of that.
No kidding. So I honestly, I don't pull the permits. I check into the permits. So, I don't know, probably maybe after a few years of being in the business and just having different agents. That's why if you don't go to your real estate office, it's kind of good to go and sit in there sometimes. You'll have top agents that talk about what they're doing. And honestly, I had heard that from a realtor that had did it once because I want to say they had it was a little different. So, I think it was something more along the lines of a septic system. And they were selling the house as like a 4-bedroom septic and they were selling the house as a 3-bedroom or a 4-bedroom house, but it only had a 3-bedroom septic. That's what it was. So, I don't know if anyone's familiar with these laws, but if you have a septic system, you need to ask your client, how many bedrooms does this system serve? If they say 3, you can only sell it as a 3-bedroom house. You cannot say, well, they added it's 10 bedrooms here and sell it as a 10-bedroom house. You will get sued. So it was something like that where somebody like was telling me how they did due diligence, even though the realtor on the other end says, hey, it's a 3-bedroom septic. We're going to get the paper at some point, but call the building department, call the Department of Public Health. And yes, look into this stuff for your buyer. Do you have to do that? No. But guess what? In 2 or 3 years from now, if they have an issue with their heating system and the plumber comes over, the HVAC company comes over and they're like, oh my God, this was installed wrong. Who did this? And you're like, I bought it. It was redone. It was done like this. And then they call the city or the town and they look at the permit and they're like, oh, permit was never pulled. Well, now when a permit's not pulled, it means that a homeowner could have just done it themselves. They just did it. It was cheaper. They didn't want to hire a professional. It costs money to pull a permit and it could be a liability. Who is the first person that your client calls? It's usually you, the realtor. You should be keeping in touch with your clients. You're the first person they called. And now with buyer agents and seller agents, there is a level of due diligence that we should be doing for our clients. And it just kind of helps you from having things fall back on you. Every state is different with liability. So yeah, so with my clients, I call the building department and some people might say that's a little aggressive, but if I'm a buyer's agent, I'm serving my buyer, not the seller. Even when I list a house and I have the seller, I don't care what they told me because it's my license on the line. Granted, they'll fill out the seller's disclosure and they'll answer it, but I will look and I'll see, hey, he put that roof on last year. Did he pull a permit for that? You know, you don't need permits for cosmetic changes. Somebody repaints a whole house, does trim, replaces the flooring. No, but when you're changing things structurally or those big ticket items, yes, a permit 100% should be pulled. And again, you're not like the permit police, but you know, the more you do this stuff and you educate your clients, you're gonna see how the referrals come because you're like a little mini like I don't know. I don't want to call you a lawyer because you're not, but like you have their back and you will see that they're going to tell everybody about their experience. You know what I mean? And that is what is going to get you referrals. If somebody has a bad experience and they buy a house with tons of issues, yes, they have a home inspection and the home inspector is going to let them know like, hey, you know, you should look at this. It doesn't look like anyone pulled a permit. If you can save your client from spending that money on an inspection, like you are going to be the hero in the situation and this is how you'll get referrals. So great question. Any other questions? And one other thing, I know we're only preparing the offer right now, but whenever you do write an offer on behalf of your clients, call them and let the realtor know. And you might be like, isn't that common sense? Well, no, like some people are so busy, they'll just submit an offer and they think the agent gets it on the other end. A text message, a phone call, that all goes a long way. Get that in, submit it, and then call the realtor. Hey, I just sent you an offer. Please let me know if you have any questions. Um, you know, call them, text them, whatever you want to do, but do a little more than just sending that email over. It could go to spam. You'll never get it. And then literally you don't get a redo. If you follow up with a realtor the next day and they're like, sorry, your offer was rejected. We didn't get it. We went with somebody else. You can't get a redo. I mean, you'll live and you'll learn for the next one, but definitely let them know that you got an offer. I mean, that you submitted an offer. All right, so we're going to keep rocking and rolling. And again, at any time, if anyone has anything they want to share, if you felt like you learned a golden nugget or something like that, you can share it. If you have any concerns, share it as well. But as of right now, I don't see anything in the chat. And if I'm missing it, just do that little raise your hand thing. And oh, actually, there is stuff in the chat. Okay, yeah, there's nothing. All right. All right, so what's the next one here? So now we are on writing the actual offer. So this is good. So with writing an offer, there's a lot to it, right? And hopefully before you write your first offer, you should get a copy of an offer form. You know, ask your PC coach, your team leader, your broker, anybody. I need documents. I want to look at an offer and I want to see what it is. You shouldn't really be sitting down with somebody for the first time and being like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do here. You know, you always want to be educated. If you have a coach, they should be helping you. In our office, we actually have mock offers and we fill out a basic offer for every state that we're licensed in. And that's what somebody uses as a guide. Obviously, every sale is different. You got to look at the MLS, see if terms change, but you should have some type of a guide that can help you get these offers written. So writing an offer, price and terms. So you should have an offer checklist, and that's what you guys should be looking at in your guide. But in front of us right now, I don't know if it's the same thing because I can't see it, but writing an offer, price and terms. So doing that market analysis with your client and coming up with a price. It doesn't mean, hey, I did a market analysis, it's 540, you got to offer 540. You know, talk to them about it. Hey, the offers are coming in at 540. You know, they've had a lot of activity. Inventory in the area is still low. So yeah, they're going to get multiple offers on this is what we're projecting. You know what I mean? And take it from there. If there's not a lot of activity, then hey, let's ask for a $10,000 closing cost credit. You know, let's throw something in there. You know, I want to stress to you guys that I always tell my clients too, you know, you're never going to overpay for a property as long as you have a financing contingency, because let the bank be the one that says if you overpay or not. Clients sometimes look at you and is like, oh, well, you think 575 is too much? And it's like, You know, in this market, a property is worth whatever a buyer will pay for it. So you let the bank be the one that will say, hey, it's too much. A lot of people don't even know that. Like when you submit an offer, a buyer can renegotiate 2 more times. They might have 2 more chances. So you get your bid to be accepted, and then all of a sudden you have a home inspection. A lot of people might not understand that you can renegotiate during that inspection. If you have a great inspection, I don't know how you'll sell that. It's like, hey, the home inspection was great, but we want 10 G's off the price. I mean, that's not really realistic. You can do whatever you want, but that's not really how it goes. It reminded me of a story when that just happened because an agent in my own office was covering a buyer, and like the week before the closing, he just asked the seller for a random reduction in price, and he thought that it would go through. And so that's what that just reminded me. I'm like, no seller is just going to randomly agree to that. So you can renegotiate after the inspection by having a credit done, renegotiating the price, asking the seller to fix things, which would cost your clients money. And then you still have the appraisal. You don't control the appraisal. That's what's great about it. It goes to a third party source, and it's outsourced, and they come and they say what the property is worth. And appraisals, and I tell my clients now, appraisals are stricter now more than ever because we're in a shifting market. So they are definitely not going to let you overpay. So in the event that that happens, guess what? We get to renegotiate, and we can say, hey, yeah, the bank is saying it's only worth 520, so that's all we're paying. And the deal can be done. The sellers will come down, or maybe the sellers will ask you to meet halfway. But you do get another chance to renegotiate even after your offer is accepted. So price and terms are big. You know what I mean? Talk to your coach about if you need any help with writing offers when it comes to like feeling uncomfortable about what the price is and what should we offer. You should be able to do a market analysis and find all that out. If not, again, I gave you my email. I'd be happy to help you on this outside of the Zoom. See if you have a seller's disclosure. It's not mandatory in every state. And actually, before I go on to that, sorry, I talk a lot. Terms. So writing a winning offer, right? So I had made some notes of that somewhere. Real quick. So we had talked about the inspection date. You know, some people straight up do 10 days. If I have 2 offers that are exactly the same, some people look at what's called terms. That's outside of the price. So what are the terms? So have a home inspection with less days. And if you don't feel comfortable with that, you can put a price limit on your inspection. So it's like, hey, we are going to have a home inspection, but my buyer is not going to back out unless there's $10,000 worth of damage or structural issues. You know, they're not going to back out unless it's something worth more than $5,000. So yes, if a house has structural beams that need to be replaced, a roof, all kind of windows, a deck, I mean, you'll obviously see this stuff visually before doing the inspection, but hey, the whole attic could be filled with mold. And, you know, that could be thousands of dollars, radon, whatever it is. You can put a price limit on it. Maybe you look at your closing date, ask your lender. Like some people put 45, 60 days, and it's like, talk to your lender. Hey, you know, can we close in 30 days? The seller wants a quick closing. How quick can you close this? We just had a deal that closed in 3 weeks. The lender was like 3 weeks. And this was with Loan Depot, right? And we're like, yeah, okay, 3 weeks. And they got it done in 3 weeks. So ask the lender. You don't know. Every client is different. Their finances are different. So ask them, and maybe a quick close will help you. But it's not always just about the price. Yes, the price helps, but having good money down, because if the buyer gets cold feet, they want to look at that earnest money. So if I have 2 offers that are the exact same and somebody's putting down 25,000 with the offer and as a deposit, and somebody's only putting down 3,000 because maybe they're FHA, which is low down payment, they don't got a lot of capital, they don't got a lot of money. My seller might want to go with that other offer because they're putting down more money. So talk to your clients about their earnest money. Talk to them about the home inspection. We are not advising our clients to waive them. If that's an option that they want to do, that's great. But again, we're not advising that. We can advise to do less days or put a money limit on it. And stuff with the closing date. I don't know if anyone else has anything else they add to that. I know some people have said stuff about writing letters, and I know that's a liability. The love letters, they call it liability letters now. You know what I mean? You can waive appraisals. But I mean, when you're working on behalf of your buyer, you want to be creative, but you also want to protect them and make sure that you're protecting them, but still giving a good offer. Um, so seller's disclosure, see if there's anything that is other documents that need to be signed. Sometimes you have a lead paint, sometimes you have a seller's disclosure. Look online. They often have these as attachments, so you want to send everything over with your offer. What's staying with the property, what's not. So look at disclosures online, see what is transferring with the sale. Somebody might say like, hey, my pool's heated, but I'm not leaving the heater of the pool. And you know what I mean? You want to be able to tell that to your client. Solar is a big deal. We have an issue going on in my office right now because an agent was representing the buyer and they didn't put anything in the offer about solar. Like they didn't they didn't put anything in the offer about solar to transfer to buyer, solar to buyer to be approved with solar. You know what I mean? Solar stays with homes. You can't really remove solar unless the seller is going to cancel their contract and pay the fee. So really know the home, what you're offering, what's transferring with the sale, and make sure it's in your additional provisions on the last page of your offer about all these things that are staying. And again, when you're writing an offer, if you're a newer agent, you should have a coach or a mentor helping you with this. So it's great to have notes to be able to know, but you'll always have guidance. We already went over earnest money. You know, what are you putting down? If you have an FHA buyer and their total down payment is 15 grand, you're not going to sit there and be like, so what can you put down? $25,000? They might look at you like, I mean, I'm only putting down 15 altogether. So you got to structure your offer with what your client is submitting with what they're approved for. So more is better. If you have contingencies, you know, your client is covered for home inspection, for financing reasons. But yes, if your client gets cold feet, here in the state of Massachusetts, it's the only thing that the seller can keep. Contracts are worded this way is the EMD. If we see them on the news, they hit the Powerball and they back out of the sale. The only thing a client has at risk after the contingencies is their EMD. So make sure you're aware of that. It's not always given back. It's given back if it's within contingencies. If they get cold feet and they go Houdini and you cannot find them the day of a closing. I've had this happen to me before. Yeah, they lose the money. Due diligence, inspection period. So when you guys make an offer, you should kind of have your dates be very similar. And again, every market is different. But when I train people, you write an offer, your offer gets accepted. We have a calendar and it's like, all right, what are your dates? Know your dates. So the due diligence, your inspection period, that all ends the same day we sign a purchase and sale. So if we're doing 10 days for our due diligence or we're doing 7 days, we sign the purchase and sales. We have a lot of the dates be all the same. So reach out to your coach about inspection periods and dates. Again, every offer is different, but we try to keep a lot of the dates similar. So that way it's not like, all right, September 1st, home inspection, September 8th, signing the purchase and sales, loan application, September 10th, loan commitment. You got all these dates and you're like, holy cow. If you can keep any of them the same in your offer, it's just better for you because it's just easier with remembering things because that is your job as a buyer's agent. You do not want your client to say on Thursday, hey, you know what? I decided I don't want to buy the house. And you're like, all right, no problem. You're busy with your kids. You got prom, whatever it is you got going on, and you want to send it on Friday. Well, you need to know your dates because if you miss a deadline, yeah, your client cannot back out now because of that. And that's a awkward conversation for you to have with your client. They will lose their deposit and then they'll probably sue you if you don't get it back. So really know your inspection period deadlines, your financing period deadlines. On an offer is time for seller acceptance. These offers are never open-ended, you know, we have dates and deadlines. So if you're doing a 30-day offer, you want to hear back from the seller within 24 to 48 hours. Now, if you're doing a foreclosure, those can take 5 business days. So know the property that you're doing. Ask the realtor too, hey, I'm going to be submitting an offer. You know, when will your seller get back? Sometimes there's even instructions online. It says highest and best with a response time of Wednesday. If you put Tuesday, your offer might not, they might not even, some realtors don't even present it because it's not with how they gave their instructions. And it even says on some of these realtor instructions, they're so cutthroat. If you do not do the following 10 things, your offer is not being submitted, which is crazy. So yeah, really know your time frames. And I would say the normal time frame is 24 hours for seller acceptance. You give them a day. I'm not trying to give nobody 2-3 days for what? So they can get other people in while your buyer's sitting there waiting. They're going to use your offer to put up against other offers. So I've been aggressive. Before I got an offer today on something, they gave me 8 hours to respond. 8 hours. So you can be as aggressive as you want, but I think the normal time period is 24 hours. Financing terms. So, again, is your client FHA? Are they conventional? You know, what are they putting down altogether? What's their financing amount? You know, you got to have loan commit. Just because your client gets pre-approved does not mean that they got this house 100%. You have to put a loan commitment date in there. They still have to do an appraisal. They have to make sure, you know, there's so many things that they got to do. So really know the financing terms and all the dates for that. Buy a pre-approval letter. I do not know why that's number 8. You know, writing an offer, that's something we've already got from them. We have it with our offer. That is very important. That should be at the top because I'm not doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all those if my client does not have this pre-approval letter. And it's not up to date. So make sure that pre-approval letter has a star near it and really make sure your client's pre-approved. And another thing, if your client gets denied, so you work with a lender, you work with a few lenders, and your client gets a denial letter. I don't really stop there. I have them talk to another lender because all these banks and lender, like they all do different things. They have different debt ratios. They have different programs. So as long as your client is cool with it and they get denied and they're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. I still need to do this or this. It's like, hey, talk to one other person or 2 other people and just see, maybe they can do something different for you where it makes sense. And then if not, hey, at least you've tried. But don't always just accept a rejection like approval on the first time. Definitely advocate for your client. You can put something on social media. You know, maybe it's because of their credit score. So it's like, hey, I have a client with a credit score of 590, you know, I know I got friends with lenders, mortgage people out here who can help this client. So that's why, yes, on your social media, you should be becoming friends with lenders, lawyers, I already said banks, other realtors. You know, build your sphere, build your connections. You want to be in front of all these people because you never know when you'll need them. Closing date, that's something that you'll talk to the lender about. A lot of realtors will put a date that works for them. They look at their calendar and like, oh, this works great for me, blah, blah, blah. Well, you got to make sure your client can get out of work because you can't close at 5 o'clock at night. You can't close on a Saturday or a Sunday. You could, if your client actually cannot take any time out of work at all, and they want to be the ones to sign, they don't want to issue a power of attorney and let somebody sign for them. You could actually talk to a lawyer and say, hey, listen, blah, blah, blah. We need to sign the night before, and then it goes on record the next day. So that is an option where it can be done. But, you know, talk to your client about the date, make sure it works with the seller. When you've called that agent to build that relationship, yes, you're saying, hey, you know, can we close in 30 days? What's important to your client? A quick close. They might say, no, we need more time. And now you're doing a 60-day close or whatever they tell you. Home warranty. So this is cool. When you have a home inspection and it's about to fall apart, offer them a home warranty, even if you have to pay for it. Time is money. And if they love the house but they're nervous, like, oh, the heating system only has 3 years left. Well, hey, we're going to get you a warranty. How's that? Will that work for you? You can ask the seller to pay for it. In the event the seller doesn't, you can pay for it. I had a deal that was going to go south because of central air. The home inspector said, oh, this is older. It might not last. And my client was like, oh my gosh, she was elderly. She's like, I have no money. So I said, all right, let's do a home warranty. Around here, I use American Shield home warranty. There's tons of programs. But check in if you have American Shield near you, American Home Shield or something. They'll come to your market center. They have reps that are in the areas and they'll come and teach a class for you guys. And then you got this local vendor. I think mine's Maggie, and I got her stored in my phone. I can have my clients call her, I call her, she's right around, and they're great. It's not like you're calling somebody from Arizona and you're getting screwed. Long story short, it really does work. We got a warranty for my client. She moved in 3 months later, central air broke. She called this warranty that was paid for her by the seller. It was a $75 service charge, and they replaced her condensers for her, which were like thousands of dollars. They replaced them for the 75 bucks. And you would think too, you might be like, yeah, but it's probably somebody who sucks or they're not. And sorry, I swore. I don't think we're supposed to swear on this. Um, Somebody that's not good or whatever. Around here, my client got, it was called Anytime Plumbing, or I think that's what it was. They're very well known and they're expensive. A lot of people don't use them because they're so much money. So these warranties are not like flimsy or rip-offs. They've been around forever and they work good. So something that you can advertise, they're always asking for mofers with Keller Williams, right? You could say like on your social media, you can't say for free. So you can, because that's illegal now, I guess. But you can say something like buy or sell with me, get a home warranty. You know what I mean? Something like that. And yes, you might say, hey, I need tax write-offs, and every buyer I work with is getting a warranty. Every seller I work with is getting a warranty. We haven't really had to do the whole seller thing in today's market because these houses have been selling insanely quick. We haven't needed warranties. But now that we have a changing market, if you're having a little bit of trouble and you're renegotiating, you know what I mean? You might want to start telling your sellers, hey, if it comes to it, maybe you don't want to say it up front, but you might want to say to them, hey, I'm prepared that if, and you can say this on your listing appointments, I'm prepared to negotiate on your behalf that when we have a home inspection, if it goes south, I'm going to pay for a warranty for the buyer out of my own pocket. Maybe you talk to your broker and they say, hey, we'll split it with you. You do half, we do half. Whatever it is to get the deal done. But home warranties are awesome. They're not scams. I've had clients use them, and you can even customize them, and you can have them for 2, 3, 4 years. You don't have to have them just for one. Obviously, the more custom you are and the more years you add, you're going to pay more money. So just be aware of that. But yeah, use it as a negotiating thing. Ask the seller to pay for it. It goes a long way. Repair limits. So we went over this already too. When you're writing an offer, you can put repair limits on things like, hey, we're going to do a home inspection, but we're not going to ask for repairs that exceed, $5,000, or we're not going to back out unless it's 5,000 or more. So understand what that means. Special clauses. So this is a big deal. Again, life is busy. So sometimes we're moving fast, and special clauses would be like, if your buyer is making an offer on a property, but they have a house to sell, you have to say subject to the final sale of 123 Main Street, Fairhaven, which is currently under agreement and due to close on whatever date. Or your house might not even be on the market. We've been seeing people making offers that don't even have their house on the market yet. In a market 6 months ago, it didn't really work, but lately I've seen, because that's the only offer these sellers are getting, they're rocking and rolling with it. So make sure that if there's any special clauses like the warranty or a home sale contingency or subject to passing Title V, or I had one recently where it was like they wanted to review the lead paint notice and whatever these clauses are that you need to put in, make sure you add them in, because there's no redos. Once your offer is accepted and you're like, oh man, I forgot this. Hopefully you have a good relationship with the other agent and you call and you're like, hey, I messed up. I got to amend that offer. They have a house to sell and I didn't add it in there. You could put your client in a position where they lose their deposit. And addendums, you can do an addendum to an offer. You know what I mean? If you have a lot to say on your clause and it's just not coming in, there's something called a blank addendum that you can add. Sometimes there's just regular addendums that you might need to add to your offer. I don't find that adding any of that is pretty standard. I usually feel like your offer and everything, the pages is pretty legit. But in Rhode Island, that state, and maybe some of your states, they don't even have an offer. You literally fill out a purchase and sales as your offer, and then you submit it. So if you're literally doing a purchase and sales and there's no offer period, then you definitely want to make sure you have addendums and certain things, so like riders or whatever you need to accompany that purchase and sales, because there's no redos. Now that's a legit purchase and sales agreement. So educate yourself on whatever market you're in with your coach. Any questions about writing an offer? I don't see anything in the chat. If you have anything, you can take yourself off of Zoom.
I have a
Uh,
question.
yeah,
I
what's
have a
up?
question. So you said our client as a buyer can sue us for the wrongful like offer provided or something like if we miss something there. Can you explain what's the reason our client can sue us?
Yes, so we're always liable, just FYI. As the TL, I see all these things that come through when you have a lot of agents in your market center. So if you, a perfect example, because this happened recently, not with my market center, but with another one. So you do an offer and you say that you're going to have a home inspection and your client wants to back out and they have $5,000 on the line with the offer and another 20 grand with the purchase and sales. You haven't signed the purchase and sales yet. You've only done your offer, right? So you've only given the 5 grand. Now they want to back out. They're not happy. You got a lot going on in your life. Something personal is going on and you're like, yeah, I'll get to that tomorrow. You really need to know your dates and your deadlines because now you wake up and you go to submit that they want to back out because of home inspection and the realtor calls you and they're like, Katie, the deadline was yesterday. Or the deadline was 2 days ago, whenever it was, you missed your deadline. And you're like, everyone should know what a deadline is. You're the one who put the offer deadline in there and you missed that deadline. And now your client cannot back out of the sale. You got to go back to them and say, I'm sorry. I missed the deadline. You can back out, but they're not going to give you your deposit back. Your client is going to sue. You lost $5,000. You're in charge of your offer. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying sue you personally. I should have said they're going to sue the brokerage. They're going to sue the brokerage for their $5,000 deposit. And by law, nobody can release that out of escrow. Your buyer has to sign to release the money for the seller. Your buyer's not going to sign it. The seller's going to be pissed because they want the money. You know, your client defaulted. You didn't do it in a timely manner. And yeah, now you're going to arbitration because you missed a deadline on an offer. So when writing offers for clients, it's definitely serious. You want to make sure you know your deadlines, your dates. You want to make sure you're covering them. So home inspection deadlines are very big and we don't want to miss anything from an inspection deadline. That's for sure. If your
All
client's
right.
going to back out.
Okay, thank you so much.
And I'm not trying to scare you. Like I've been doing this 20 years. I've never been sued. And I'm human. I'm not a robot. I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? So I've definitely an error that I did, right? Is a while ago, a long time ago. I didn't know that whatever you put in the MLS, whatever you put online conveys with the property unless you disclose that it doesn't. So I did this great write-up and I'm like, oh, this house has this like awesome security system. I said all this stuff, right? People go to see it. It's high tech. It's great. Well, my client said it was staying, but I guess I missed the part where my client said it was staying only if she got full price. And I didn't get full price on it. This was a long time ago, and I didn't get full price. And now it's a week of the closing, and I didn't know, out of sight, out of mind. I wasn't thinking of the cameras. They move, they take all the cameras with them. The buyer goes to do a walkthrough, and the buyer is like, where are the cameras? And I'm like, oh, shoot. I'm like, yeah, where are the cameras? Now I'm like, oh, shit, they took the cameras. Like this whole big setup. And this was like cameras you might think of $75. It was like thousands of dollars for this whole high tech thing. It was a couple $1,000s. And yeah, my client took it. My client was like, I'm not giving the cameras. I told you, blah, 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 blah. I'm not arguing with my client because yeah, she did tell me that and I forgot. I was busy. She even sent it in like a text and I misunderstood it. So that buyer was going to sue for the cameras. Well, who's going to get sued? My seller, when she told me that they weren't staying unless she got full price. I didn't realize that. So because I put it in the MLS, it was staying with the sale. I never caught it. I never talked to my client. She never told me. I ended up buying the same security system and I lost thousands of dollars, but it was a lesson learned. You know what I mean? So yes. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
scare anyone, like I said, but you'll see with like real life things as you go on, it's like all these lesson learns. No one really sues. It's so hard because they got to get a lawyer, they got to pay, they got to come up with all this upfront money. And nowadays, like people don't, they're not just rolling in dough. People aren't just suing everyone. So yeah, they might send like a little letter to you about something, but I'm telling you right now, I don't know why all these airplanes are flying above me. I'm sorry if you can hear that. But nowadays, if you lose someone's deposit of 5 grand, 10 grand, yeah, and it was your fault, there could be repercussions from it. So just really know what you're doing when writing an offer. And if you don't, and it's okay to not know what you're doing, where you know, you all knew at some point, definitely ask for help with that.
That's very good to know. To be
Okay,
prepared.
awesome. Yes.
Thank you.
Again, not trying to make anyone paranoid, but it's good to
No,
have a
no,
little
not
fear
at
in you to keep
all.
you on your toes.
I would like to hear all stories, like a scary stories, to remember them and say next time, okay, Veronica, don't do that.
Yep.
Check twice, check 4 times, 5, 10 times,
Yep.
recheck.
Yep. So in my office meetings at work, I do a slideshow. I'm sure all your market centers do that. But something I add to mine is called lessons learned. Because as the TL, I come across lessons all the time. You know what I mean? Where somebody messes up, like that whole solar contract thing. The guy forgot to do all this stuff. The buyer's like, I'm not taking the solar. Like, we got all these things. And I really it's how you learn because it's real life stuff. It's what's happening to all the agents in the office. And then I open it up to everyone in the office. I say, hey, anyone in this meeting have any lessons learned that they want to share? And then everyone's talking about things. So, so yeah, if your office doesn't do it, maybe ask your team leader to do it. Because I mean, an office meeting, like this is what people come for to my meetings. They go for the lessons learned. They go for the off-market properties. We do a few things outside of the slideshow that they provide. But yes, it's real life stuff and it can happen to you in your business if it's happening to them.
I can tell you my story, but it was not my fault. It was my client's fault.
Okay.
So he's like a old school person, 75 something. So he
Okay.
does not use laptop. He uses
Okay.
his phone, and
Yeah.
he signed the offer that buyer provided to him. He signed it through his phone, and probably he does not use glasses
Oh.
because people just don't like use
Oh, they
them.
just press the buttons and whatever.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
actually,
he
no,
was
but
like,
he's not doing
okay,
that. He's doing it in
yeah, he
person.
was
Yep.
okay. This is the offer. But the buyer's agent added to the offer in the bottom, in exactly the bottom, $9,000 goes towards to buyer to cover their costs, like
Yep.
attorney, everything. And he did not see that. And after the
Okay.
closing, he blamed us because you're the worst agents. I would never ever work with you again
Yeah.
because I did not see that.
Yep.
So who is wrong here?
All right.
Agent.
So yeah, so just being fully transparent when we get an offer were you the buyer's agent or the seller's agent?
Sellers.
Okay, so yeah, that was the other agent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I even had it today with somebody in my office. We were doing the lessons learned. You really have to review your offers because yes, people write things at the bottom. They write additional provisions. You as representing the seller, you know what I mean? Like that wasn't really your fault. But yes, you want to explain everything to them, whether they're signing it electronically or they're doing it in person and explaining that to them. Yes, like that's a conversation. When I was at Mega Camp this past few weeks ago, one thing and what like some of my golden nuggets, and I have notes on Mega Camp too that I can share with people. But one of the things I really am gonna focus on in my business and I'm telling my agents to is the client experience. Like I'm a mile a minute. I talk fast. You guys might see that with me already. I need to be like reeled in sometimes and I need to slow down. And I forget that with my clients. Like I'm like, hey, appraisal's Thursday at 12. I'll be there a little earlier. I'll see you then. And then at Mega Camp, they said, like, why are we not picking up the phone and explaining to our clients what an appraisal is? And so when I got back, I had this situation and yeah, I called my client, hey, Thursday, as a reminder, is the appraisal. I want to let you know, I want to explain to you the process of what's going to happen. I'm going to arrive. The appraiser's going to get there. They're going to go through the home. I explained the whole thing. I told him about what could happen if the appraisal goes sideways. If it doesn't come in, it should, because we did the market analysis and it should be good. But I explained to them what would happen if the appraisal went south. And we had a great conversation and they felt educated and they're like, all right, awesome. I'll see you Thursday. Then when we, every little thing I do now, I'm calling my client and I'm taking 2 minutes because that's one thing I never do. I would send a quick text and just assume that they can figure it out and understand it. And no, I'm focusing more on the client experience now. And even my agents in my office, I'm just calling more and saying like, hey, I just want to know that there's an open house this weekend. It's from 10 to 12, but hey, sometimes they come at 11:50 and I'm here till 12:30. Because now you got your client coming back pissed off that you're still here at 12:05 and they're waiting to get in their driveway with their pets or whatever. You know what I mean? So really explain situations to people. And I think with that situation right there, Veronica, I think that, just a little bit of communication and an explanation. We got to go over everything with the clients and
Yeah. I feel
maybe,
guilty for that. Even I'm new agent. I feel guilty because I think I feel like I should explain everything, but I was like I'm kind of shadowing
yep,
because my team leader does the most job. I'm
okay,
just I get training
yeah,
and but we did not know he does not use the laptop or a computer. We did not know that.
yeah,
We just did not know, and
yeah,
I did not know. I never saw that person, never in my life.
yeah. Oh,
Never. We
man.
just communicate,
Yeah, so it's
and
just
I did not.
lessons learned. And you'll be
Yeah,
able to write a book. You'll be able to write a book at some point with all these
I
things,
will.
and it's all lessons learned. And it doesn't mean like no one's human. Anyone has a job outside of real estate and they go to work. I had somebody that worked at Lowe's and he was bringing the big pallets up and it was like of say bird seed and there was like 50 freaking bags and he dropped them all and it was this crazy thing. Like every single person is going to make mistakes, you know what I mean? And there's a certain level of liability with ours because this is a lot of legal stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're learning, you're in training. Communication is key. Really explain to the client, review it, and yeah, you didn't know. So maybe now you can base systems around that so it doesn't happen again. You know?
He said no, never again. But I still want to write a nice letter and invite him to the
Yeah.
to celebrate the closing. I don't
Yep.
know what he's gonna say.
I would
He's oh
still
my
do
God.
it. It's personal cards is something that we should always be doing. And I'll talk, if people have 10 minutes when we're done, because like I said, I'm going to be finishing before a lot of time. I'll go over things like this. But yes, I always send a personal card. And what you're going to learn in bold is like if you ever take bold, I had a client that I kind of messed up on it like 15 years ago, right? And it was a commercial deal. And I don't know. I don't know how I could have done it differently, but I probably should have educated him more on commercial. He bought this building, and at the time he told me I'm going to do this with it, and that's what it was approved for. But maybe I should have educated him that if you're not going to do that and you're going to change your use, you've got to go in front of the city or the town and get it approved. Well, I didn't explain that part to him because I didn't care. I'm like, oh, he's using it for the same thing it is. Well, when he bought it, he's like, hey, yeah, I changed my ideas. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And after he had bought it, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, you got to go to the town for that. Like, you can't just do what you want. Well, he had got denied and he couldn't do what he wanted with the building. And it was this big thing. So I gave him my commission. I didn't even want my commission. I gave it to him like, I'm so sorry. Like, I should have educated you differently. Like, what could I have done differently? Right. And then I honest to God, I almost blocked the guy because I had anxiety that like, oh my God, I ruined this guy's like commercial thing. He ended up being able to do a few things that he wanted with it. But, I just had anxiety over the situation. And in bold, they said, call your worst client. Call the worst client that you ever had or a client that you avoid and just say hello. Check in, say hello, and reconnect and see how that goes for you, right? So I'm like, oh
Oh my
God,
God,
David.
that's the challenge.
I'm like, David McKinnon, I got to call him right now. And so I did it. I got out my comfort zone and I called him. A year after that, I got a phone call from a lawyer. The lawyer told me that, and this just happened. This was happened a few years ago. The lawyer called me and said that he died. And he left in his will for me to sell all his properties. Now, a client that I thought hated me and that I had anxiety because I ruined a deal, um, it wasn't the case at all. And I sold his properties and I got the highest and best for his kids. So I say, send the letter, call the guy, keep in touch with him. At the end of the day, he has some faults as well. And if he still doesn't think that, anything was on him, then it is what it is. But I would say reach back out and send that note. I would advise
Yeah.
that.
That's what I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, yeah.
You're welcome. All right, so just continuing here, like talking through the offer. When you're talking through the offer with your client, you review the contract with them. You don't just, and maybe some of you do this, it's a practice I would get out of the habit of. You call them on the phone, you're like, hey, I'm gonna send the offer. Yep, we talked 525, home inspection, blah, blah, blah. And then you just hit send on DocuSign and you expect them to sign it. And maybe that's what happened in that situation, and we're not talking to them about anything, right? That's a no-no because we can get mistakes. So what I do is if I'm doing electronic signatures, I send the whole contract to them in their email and I call them and I say, hey, in a little bit, you're going to get the contract to sign electronically. But beforehand, I want you to review it. Do you want to review it right now on the phone? Or do you want to review it yourself? Like, what can we do here? But I want to talk to you about it. They always say, review it with me. So we review the contract. You make sure they understand the contract and you review the details like the price, the closing date, the inspection, the contingencies, what's staying, what's not, everything we just went over on that checklist. You know what I mean? You go over it and you make sure that they know all of that stuff. Know what's essential in your area, know standard or common terms for offers in your area. Like standard or common terms could be things like all the contingencies at the end, no terms like that to protect your client if they have a house to sell. And then obviously it says avoid rookie mistakes. I mean, that I think would just be not reviewing the offer with your client, missing dates, you want to review everything, make sure you have the correct spelling. I had a client recently where, again, I'm a mile a minute, right? I'm trying to do the team leader job. I'm trying to sell houses, work with my buyers. And I sent them a listing agreement and like my name was spelt wrong. I think I did like the wrong zip code. Like, how embarrassing is that? Did I review it? No, I was doing a mile a minute. So that's a rookie mistake, they would say, right? So review your stuff, take the time. And make sure what you're sending them, what you're going over with them, so that way you can explain it to them. So any questions about that? It kind of continued from what we were just talking about. So presenting the offer is what we're going to go over next. There's a checklist for that. So you can look at the email summary. You guys might have an email summary on your page. You have a present an offer checklist. So review all that and understand what all that is. Recently, I went on Gemini or ChatGPT and I explained the terms of my offer in the email. So I had said, I have a buyer. We're writing an offer on 123 Main Street, Fairhaven. The purchase price is $675. And I went through the offer, right? So I just explained purchase price $675, putting down $10,000 as the deposit, home inspection deadline. Like I literally told AI what it was. And I said, make me a summary. It did something so professional. I copied and pasted it with reviewing it because even AI makes mistakes. I reviewed it to make sure there was no mistakes. I copied and pasted. I made sure there was no like information about my buyer's name in the offer or their address or anything like that within this email that I'm sending to the realtor because we want to protect their information. But yeah, I did an email summary of my offer. I do that for sellers, buyers. If you're not using AI, you really should start to dabble with it. It doesn't mean you're not going to be successful if you don't use it, but the agents who are using it might stand out a little more than you. So, if you're not familiar with AI, like I said, dabble with it, ask your team leader, your productivity coach to do a class on it. Maggie from our region has been visiting market centers and doing a great AI class. I'm having somebody, I think November 18th, fly in from like the worldwide, like I don't know where they're from, KWRI. They're flying in to do high-tech AI. So everyone's going to be invited to that. So yes, you can do an email summary that explains the offer when you present it. So look at your present the offer checklist. You want to double check all documents. Again, make sure you have the offer, your agency disclosure. You should not be extending your exclusive buyer agreement over to the other agent. That's not what we do. Now they see that your client's going to pay commission if their seller doesn't. In our area, buyer agents send them to us, and I'm like, okay, so my seller doesn't have to pay commission. Like, you're not doing good at negotiating for your client. So don't send that stuff. Just double check all your documents. Follow instructions. If somebody has offer instructions, make sure you follow it, because they might say at the end of it, we're not submitting your offer if you do not do this, this, and this. Make sure all documents are labeled, that they're ordered logically. You know, I present my pre-approval letter, my agency disclosure, my offer form. If they have any lead paint or any other seller's disclosure documents, I put all that at the end. I do an email summary over to the other agent. And again, do you have to do that? No, but you're getting trained here at Keller Williams on what you should be doing to make yourself stand out. People at RE/MAX, Century 21, Coldwell Banker, all these other companies, they don't have trainings like this where they're getting told what to do to make them look better. So they're just probably sending an offer and saying, hey, thank you for the showing. Maybe they're not even saying thank you. And they're just like, see offer attached. Let me know if you have any questions. Now they get your offer from Keller Williams, and it's like a breakdown. It's all this stuff. When I make an offer, I CC my lender on it. Whatever bank my client's using, I CC them on the email. And at the end of it, I say, attached is Rob Betancourt from Fairway Mortgage. Please feel free to reach out about any financial questions that he can assist you with. Obviously, I tell my client that's what I'm doing. I get their permission to do that. And now I've had agents say to me, hey, we got 2 offers that were the same, but you look like you have a winning team. You know what I mean? You're having a home inspection right away. You got the lender on the email. He responded. I called him, hey, you better freaking respond to that email I'm sending, because I want them to know that you're present. I don't care if it's a Sunday or a Monday. When I use vendors that are working with me, I'll let them know, hey, I'm sending an offer. I'm going to CC you on it. I want you to respond. If they're like resistant and they don't want to do that, get a new lender. You want a winning team. You want to show that you communicate. And that's just one of the things that I do. Notify the listing agent. Again, don't like hide. Send the offer and call them, text them. Hey, you got an offer. Don't wait and assume that they got it. Once you're done with all of this, you should already have an opportunity in command, because anytime you have a buyer or a seller, you should put the opportunity in. So it gives you motivation and you stay organized to convert the deal. But upload all your documents, and then, consult with your buyer. So reach out to your buyer, talk with your buyer, make sure that they understand the offer that you're presenting. Let them know, hey, I just sent oftentimes your buyer is sitting on the other end and they're waiting. They want to know what's going on. Communication's key. Talk to them every day. If you have a buyer or a seller, say to yourself, what can I say to them today? Do I have to reach out to them for anything? That should be the first thing you do every day. So yes, I check in with my buyer. Hey, just so you know, your offer has been submitted. We should hear back by 5 p.m. The next day, I reach out to my client. I just send something positive. Hey, fingers crossed for today. I'm going to follow up with the realtor if I don't hear from them. But your client is anxious. This is a very anxious time for them. So make sure you're following up with them and letting them know every step of the way. Any questions about that part? Okay, I see nothing in the chat. Receive and review the offer checklist. So now this is like what the seller is going to do, right? So now you've submitted your offer and you're wondering what's going on the other end. So you can put yourself as if you were the seller's agent now, you want to make sure that you got a complete offer. So what's a complete offer? If you get just an offer form, that's a problem. Where's the agency disclosure? Where is the pre-approval? And you might be like, why do I need an agency disclosure? Well, you're not going to get paid unless you have compliance. And if you don't get that agency disclosure now and you close on the house, some of these realtors, they're horrible with communicating. You text them after the fact, they don't even answer you, some of them. And you might never get that. And now you have a compliance issue with Keller Williams because you do not have the other agent's agency disclosure. If we get audited, we need to have all that on file. So make sure you have a complete offer. And my advice is sit with your productivity coach or your accountability partner or your team leader or your MAPS coach and get a checklist for each thing. When you are a buyer's agent submitting an offer, you have checklists right in here. If you do something different, add to it. But you can type all this stuff into AI on ChatGPT or on Gemini and say, hey, here's the checklist, label it 1 to 10, whatever, 1 to 7 for this one, and tell it to make you a checklist. And now you got a checklist until you are good at doing this and you're not going to forget something. It's totally okay. I have checklists for everything. So make sure you have checklists in place or you know what you're doing, but make sure your offer is complete. Confirm receipt of offer. So whenever I get an offer on my end, I let the other agent know that I got the offer. Like, hey, offer received. When you submit an offer, you should write at the end of it, kindly confirm receipt of this offer. Maybe you're texting them, calling them, but in the email, you want them to let you know that they got it. When you get an offer or when a seller's agent, a listing agent gets an offer, you got to submit that to your client right away. Obviously, if you're using the bathroom and something comes through, or you're like out at lunch for a funeral or whatever it is, just lunch, you do not have to run out and go get your computer and send it to your client. Like, there's exceptions, but it's not get an offer on Tuesday at noon and then call your client Wednesday at 9. Hey, I got an offer yesterday. No, that's not what we do. So, everything goes, we have deadlines and stuff like that. So when you get an offer as a listing agent, you need to get that to your seller right away. And I don't know, like think back at your sales. And then if you haven't had any sales yet, one of my mentors early on, it always says your first offer is your best offer. It has like 9 times out of 10, it's always true with my listings. I'm a heavy listing agent. So whenever we get offers coming, I tell my clients this, hey, just so you know, the first offer is probably the best. So let's try to work with it. Let's see what it is. And it's always proven to be true. So, get the offer to your seller. You can even create a summary of it, right? So if you feel that you got multiple offers, your coach, your PC coach, somebody should have a multiple offer Excel sheet where you can type in each offer and put the home inspection date. Are they having a home inspection? Yes. Put the date. What's the purchase price? What's the money down? And it asks all these things. It's summary. So your coach should have that. If not, reach out to me. I know we have one. I'm not going to lie. I don't really use those with my clients. I'm very hands-on. I'll meet them. I'll go over it with them. We'll show all the offers. If I have multiple offers, I'm sending it to them as they come. You know what I mean? I've never gotten 20 offers on a house before, but yes, there are summaries that you can plug into, or you can take the one offer that you got, put it into AI or ChatGPT and ask it to create a summary. So that way you can better explain it to your client. And go ahead, Gina, you have a comment?
Yes, can you just drop your email in the chat? I don't think it's actually in there.
Yes. Oh, okay.
You've got so much good stuff. I want to definitely respond to you, reach out to you. So,
Yeah. So I'm crazy too. I have like 100 audios on my phone. So like, I'll give you guys my number too. And again, if I don't answer right away, I will never not respond. I'll get back to you end of day. I run the market center. I mentor people. I might be in a lot of meetings, but like if you texted me and you were like, hey, Katie, I'm going to list with a seller. I don't even know what I'm doing. I've never been on a listing appointment. I have audios that I've created where I'll talk for like 10 minutes and just tell you like what you should do on your listing appointment, what you should talk to your sellers about, what you should do. I got them for like everything, like leveling up your business, like every topic. And I like challenges. So if you have a topic that's a challenge to you, text me. I can do an audio on it if I don't have it, and then I'll send it to you. I love stuff like that.
where can we find the audios?
So they're just on my phone. Like I've been
Mhm.
pushed to like put them on YouTube, and I'm kind of working on that. But
Okay.
like I'm a mom, I got kids, I'm divorced, I'm a single mom,
I
and
get
like
it.
I'm just trying to balance and stay above water. So I haven't gotten to do anything with them yet. But if you text me and you need a certain one, I can send you whatever you're looking for. But I am gonna get them online at some point. But I put my stuff in there. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, you know
I
what?
can't see it. Can anyone else see
Yeah.
it?
Hold on. I
No,
was doing some
No.
typing thing. Okay, hold on. Elderkinkatie@yahoo.com. I'm not going to use my Keller Williams one, so I can leave it separate. Because I get so much stuff on that one. And then my number. You can text me anytime. I
But if
love to
I-
like talk.
Could you
role
please
play.
leave your full name?
Oh, yes. You can find me on Facebook. And here I said it would be like a short class, and I just keep like rambling on. I don't stop. So, but we are almost finishing up, and then I can go over a few more things. But that's my stuff. You should all be able to see it. Katie Elderkin, 508-863-5889. And then it's my last name, Elderkin, first name, Katie @yahoo.com. So all right, we're receiving and reviewing as if we're the listing agent. So create a summary. And now we call the, hold on, somebody, let's call the buyer's agent, call the lender if allowed. All right, yeah. So you call the buyer's agent, you let them know you got the offer. You can ask them any questions about the offer that you have. You know, hey, why is your client only putting down $2,000? You want to have these answers before you call your seller, because guess what? Your seller is going to say, why are they only putting down 2,000? And then you're going to say, oh, let me ask. You're going to look so much more educated and confident if you've already got the answers, right? And as you learn, you're going to be like, oh, shoot, I should have asked that. And then you'll put them into your systems. But if you have any questions, you call the buyer's agent and ask the questions, you know. And then they say, if you're allowed in your area, to call the lender. I ask my client permission straight up, and we send an email over to the lender and the realtor. So yeah, hey, call them. You got permission from the buyer. Like, we're good. And now they can have a relationship, and not a relationship, but they can talk, whatever, and ask any questions that they've got to get out there about the client's financing. Create an outline document to reference when you call the sellers. So again, I mean, I don't know. Some of these steps, I'm very, like, I like all this stuff, but some of them I just feel is like very repetitive, you know? At the end of the day, you can create an outline document to reference when you call the sellers. I go in ChatGPT. This is how crazy it is. You can upload your offer to ChatGPT and say, create an outline document for me to reference to my sellers. Create a summary of this offer to reference to my sellers. You might have to pay for the pro on that. But again, at Keller Williams, when you have a KW email, you get Gemini through Google for free. So that's right when you go to access your emails. It's Docs, Sheets, Gmail, whatever all those things are, Maps, all these things it's got. Scroll down and find Gemini. It's free. You get it for free. If you were not part of KW, you'd have to pay for it. And it does all these cool things for you. All right, we're winding down here. So let's see what's next. All right, we already did that. So everyone should have a tech trainer at their office. When you create your opportunities, this is all like your database health. I don't even know why I'd be going over this right now with you guys. It has nothing to do with making an offer, but in Command, you got to enter things in your database. You should have your client's name, their client's email, their phone number, their address. The more stuff you have in there, you're going to get a health score. So you can look at your health score and see where you're kind of falling short. But anytime that you even think, you know, someone's like, hey, I'm going to buy in 6 months, or I'm going to sell my house, this or that, create an opportunity right away. Because it also can project what you can earn. And there's something to be said about putting something out there and putting it into the atmosphere, putting it into Command, and then watching it, saying like, wow, $10,000. What could I do with $10,000? Maybe it's going to make you call Johnny a little bit more. Maybe it's something that's going to trigger inside of you to figure out how to connect and talk to him more, to be able to get that buyer or to sell that house. So whenever you get a client, make sure you enter them into Command as an opportunity, and you want to get all the information that you need. So some people, and again, ChatGPT, AI, ask top agents at your office, your coach, your mentor, say, do you guys have a buyer questionnaire? And you can send it over to the buyer when you first meet them, or to your seller when you first meet them. And it can ask things like, what's your birthday? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? And it just asks all these things about them. And you can enter all that stuff into Command. You can tag them with certain things. And then it helps you, like, you know, when it's their birthday, or if they call you in a year from now, you're going to know all these things that you had on them. And, you know, maybe you send a personal note and you choose the color purple, or a purple flower because they said they liked purple. And again, you're just building relationships with your clients. So, so yes, I'm assuming that's what they wanted me to talk about on this slide when you're creating an offer. And then we're kind of just back It just literally goes over the same slides again. We're back to the beginning. So we basically just winded down here. You know, where we're right back at the beginning of the slides. This is when you would normally go into groups and like role play with people on responding to an offer. You know what I mean? Which we're not going to do because I don't have anybody to break out the chats. I don't even know how to do that. So I'm sorry if that's what people were looking forward to. But basically, does anyone have any questions about reviewing offers, writing offers, any of that? Because if not, I'm going to move on to something else. And if people want to leave, they can leave. If people want to stay, they can stay. I just probably have like 10 more minutes of something that I just want to say that you should be doing every day as a realtor to get business. So I'll open it up to any questions that you have about anything that we've talked about today. Okay, so I'm gonna assume there's no questions. I do have my chat up, so if you do have a question, and like I said, if you need to leave, the class is done, you'll get credit. So, you know, no issues if you have to leave. You guys have this daily success system, right? And so it says like 10 conversations, 10 contacts, 10 handwritten notes, social media engagement, enrichments, appointments, agreements, and closings, right? So I want to go over the top ones here. As a real estate agent, some people think now, I want to explain a little bit. I worked in a hospital, right? I worked 7 to 3 or 8 to 4, and I would sell about 15 million a year in real estate. I did that for a decade. I had my priorities all mixed up because I didn't know how to time block. I was insane. It caused me to get divorced. I chose work over family all the time because I did not know systems. I had no systems in place. After I got divorced, I joined Keller Williams and I really plugged into their systems, right? I created checklists for everything. I did the systems. I know it's crazy and I know it's silly. You got to add these contacts to your database. They say if you have 200 contacts in there, you'll have a 6-figure business. It is true. It's not just having the name though, like Katie Elderkin and a number. I mean, that's good, but you really want to have their email address. You want to know where they live. You want to send them the birthday card. So you want to know the birthday note. You want to know their birthday. There's reasons to all of this, right? You want to tag your people as well. I know that sounds weird, right? But I'll tag my people wherever they live. New Bedford, Fairhaven, Mattapoisett, Fall River. Whenever I get new listings in that area, I'll go in my filters and I'll research everyone that lives in New Bedford and I'll reach out to them. Hey, I just want to let you know I'm getting a listing in your area. They're all my friends and family, my sphere or past clients. So it gives me a reason to call them. We always need reasons, right? So I know it's silly and I know it takes time, but it's called learn before you earn. Okay. Set up your foundations because I did not do that for 5 or 6 years. And I took the back roads to get to where I wanted to be. And I failed a lot. Okay. My biggest failure in life was getting divorced. Okay. And I've learned from it because we fail forward. I've mastered time blocking. I've mastered systems. And it allows me to still sell 10 million a year and run a market center and do everything that I do because I've done these systems. And part of it is doing the basics, right? So if you do not have a database, get one. I don't care if it's in a book. You can have a book. They say use the database that you're going to use, right? So I started out with a little black book and I had an address book and I'd had my A's, my B's, my C's. And then when I came to KW, because I never really used it as a high level, when I came to KW, I'm like, holy cow. So this can text people, it can email people. Like this is like a one-stop shop. Your database is amazing. Get people in it. If you have 100 people in it, get 100 more. If you don't even know who to add, I've heard excuses. I moved to the area. I don't have family or friends. Great. Get in front of people. Let's figure it out. Ask ChatGPT or Gemini. I need to add 100 people to my database. Who can I call? Who can I reach out to? Who can I get in front of? You know, there's certain things that you can do, and this takes time. You know, no one's saying you got to do this in 10 minutes. Like I have like maybe 1,000 people in my database, but I've been a realtor for 20 years. You know what I mean? Everyone's success is different, but if you do these basic things, right, you'll build your business and you'll be able to take the highway to where you want to be instead of the back roads. So get those people in your database and tag them. It's very, very, very important. What else is important? is focus on a couple of things, right? You shouldn't be doing 20 things. If you're stressed out, you have anxiety, you feel like real estate might not be for you or something, you're all over the place, pick something. So what are you going to excel at? And pick one thing first. Are you going to excel at social media? Are you going to excel at having conversations and being in front of people? Social media is honestly the easiest thing right now to control. I'm a conversation queen. So I have a clicker and I average 100 conversations a day. Now, people might think I'm lying and I'm crazy. I give people my phone in my office all the time. Look through it. I have over 100 conversations on that phone every single day, to clients, family, friends, realtors in the office, vendors, lenders, lawyers. It's definitely a lot. But I know that I have to talk to 40 people in my sphere because I've just calculated it for so long. I have to talk to minimum 40 people, friends, families, past clients, 40 people a day to keep up with the business that I want to do. And you don't know your number because maybe you're not tracking it. So I challenge you to look at your phone from yesterday or even today. How many people did you talk to? If you're sitting there like, oh, shoot, I didn't talk to anybody or I talked to one person and you're not happy with your business, that's the problem. And I get it. People have anxiety, right? About talking to people. So take the craziness out of it. Take the anxiety out of it. When I coach my people, it's called conversations. So what's a conversation? I call my cousin Megan. Hey, cuz, what's up? Just wanted to say hello. Just wanted to see how you and the kids are doing. I saw you went to Waterways. How was it? Because I'm thinking of taking the kids. Even though I ain't taking my kids, I'm done. We're done with summer stuff. I'm just using it as an excuse to call. Some people can say that's lying. I don't know. I call it having a conversation. You know what I mean? I'm just calling her. I'm not saying, hey, cuz, you're going to list it with me, buy, sell. I'm not like begging for business. Whoever you're calling, they know who you are. They know you're a realtor. If they don't know you're a realtor, that's your problem. You need to fix that on social media. You need to wear swag. Everybody needs to know that you are a realtor. And when you call them, you don't even have to mention real estate. You get extra bonus points if you do, because sometimes like you'll call somebody and it's like, hey, how are you? How you doing? How's things? You talk about family, right? I use the letters FOR. So we talk about family. And then when you need something else to talk about, you say, hey, how's work? And then they usually say, work's great. How's work with you? And then now this is your cue to bring up, oh, I did open houses this weekend, or the market's busy. Talk about real estate for that 1 minute. And then say, oh, what are you doing this weekend? What's for fun? And blah, blah, blah. And yeah, that's kind of how those conversations go. But you do not need to cold call people right now. You really should be calling people that are in your sphere, friends, family, past clients, building that database and just having conversations. I tell people, again, social media is the number one thing you can control. You should be posting every single day. It's not just about posting on social media. You got to do, I say about like 2 hours a day is all you need to do. And if you work at a high level, you can do 1 hour a day of real estate. Social media might be challenging for others because maybe you're not tech savvy, right? So it might take you a little longer and that's okay. But schedule out your posts. You should be posting at least one thing a day. And it does not need to be real estate related. You don't need to share like list reports or infographics every single day, market summaries every day, mix it up. Do you go to church? Do you lift weights or go to the gym, run, work out? Do you go on a boat? Do you go out to eat, right? Do you try a new restaurant? When you're out to eat, you don't even need to like say that you're a realtor. Post a picture of your meal and be like, hey, I'm at Turks today. This like, I don't know. You can just say something about it. I'm kind of all talked out today, so I can't really come up with ideas, but you can ask ChatGPT or post a picture of your photo and just had this great meal at Turks, just in case anyone's in the area, great place to stop by. You're going to get people that are going to comment on that because they're foodies, right? The people that comment on your food are not going to be the same people that comment on church. They're not going to be the same people that comment on a motivational post. They're not going to be the same people that comment on real estate. So why am I telling you to post different things? Because if you look at your likes, it's going to be different people. You know, you want to build your algorithm. So you want to post all kind of different things. You want to post all that different stuff. Because someone's going to see that and they're going to click on your page. They're nosy. Maybe you do that now. You click and you look at the first few things and you're like, oh, shoot. You should be mixing it up too and having real estate in there. They look at like the first 4 things. Have something real estate in there. Have your website. Have market analysis by the click of a button from the Keller Williams website. You know, whatever it is it should always have something real estate related mixed in there, but share different type of content and analyze it. Who's liking it? Who's commenting on it? I cringe when I see agents in my office not comment back. I don't care if you just say thank you or wow, I don't care. That helps build your algorithms. You know, when you like people's things, sometimes I give my kid my phone. I'm like, hey, I'll buy you V-Bucks if you go on Facebook and pick 50 things and just like it. You know what I mean? Because I want to build my algorithms. I have them go on my company page sometimes and just say, I got older, like teenagers, you know, hey, comment congratulations if you see something that says sold. Because I'm busy, I'm double tasking, so I'm leveraging my business to my kids to do some of my stuff. So comment, like, share different posts, watch what you're doing, and also grow your audience. So if you only have 35 followers today, don't be embarrassed. You got to start somewhere, right? It's your goal to friend request people. Find people. Sometimes we sit there, oh my God, what if they don't accept me? Or what if they do? You know what I mean? We fear rejection and we worry so much about what people think. Get over that and don't be afraid. They're going to accept your stuff and you just want to get in front of them. You know, you're posting. If you have a first-time home buyer class at your market center every month, you should be posting that. Create an event for it. Reach all these people that you can get on social media. So if you're doing social media at a high level and you're having conversations with friends and family or even cold calling, if you don't have any friends or family, you just want to call a neighborhood. Hey, I'm your neighbor. I live in the neighborhood. Who knows the area better than me? You know, do you have any questions about the market? Yeah, people are going to yell at you. They're going to tell you to go screw off, all this stuff. But again, you got to get thick skin and you just want to converse with people because they say out of every 100 people you talk to, you will get a client. So that's why we do bold 100s. I compete with people in my market center to see who can do one first because I average 100 a day. So when I'm up for it, I'll definitely challenge people. And if they beat me, I'll give them $100. You know what I mean? So do bold 100s. When you call 100 people, you will get a client. And if you don't, then there's something wrong with what you're calling them and saying because you should get more than one. But when you first start out, you're going to average about one for every 100 people you call. So that might be like, holy cow. It might be like a perception thing. You know, you're seeing that in person now and knowing that you call 5 people, don't get discouraged if you don't get a conversion because you need to be doing more. So those are like the main things. If you have open houses in your market center, our market center is big on foreclosures. We average 40 foreclosures at a time. Our broker is an REO broker and he's not doing 40 open houses. So he leverages them to our market center and, see if there's anybody in your office that has that opportunity. Maybe you got top agents. Do open houses. If you can do open houses, do them because now you're in front of people. You're posting about it on social media. Another tip is, and again, maybe ask your broker, like, or your OP or your team leader if they allow this. I follow rules, but I also, I don't know, I follow rules, right? So you go in MLS or your online thing, there's a property on a lockbox. I'll say I'm doing a tour for a client. I don't do this because I have listings and I'm busy, but I'll tell agents in the office, they'll go on our foreclosures, they'll go make an appointment and they'll go to this lockbox listing and they'll take some photos of it. And then they go put it on their social media. And if it's not your listing, you can say, toured this property with my buyer today, courtesy of, you know, at the bottom, you can put courtesy of RE/MAX or whoever's listing it is. But I just say, hey, toured this property with my client today, beautiful ranch in Somerset. Any buyers out there want to see it, call me for a private showing. And I have a photo of the house, you know, and people in my area, we do this. Your area might be different with rules. So again, I don't want to break rules. I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but we always want things to post on social media. So go look at private houses that are on lock boxes, get some content to post about it, and then always give credit to whoever the realtor is that, you know, it was their listing. So those are kind of some of the things: open houses, conversations, posting on social media every day. Those are the things you should be doing. Once you're excelling at that, then you can add in mailers, postcards. I'm not doing mailers if I'm not calling people. I'm not doing mailers if I'm not posting on social media. You are gonna get way more engagement by running an ad through Google, through command, running an ad and getting leads that way. When I say have conversations, spend $5-10 and run a command ad and get some leads and talk to people. And one other thing that I do, and I've done it for many years, is personal notes. I try to write one personal note a day. So 7 a week. And yeah, I might spend Sunday thinking and getting a few out there. They're happy birthday cards to people. I'm handwriting a happy birthday card to my clients in my sphere. Thank you cards. You know, somebody the other day, I'm on this weight loss journey. So somebody like sent me a freaking scale in the mail and I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I called them and I said, thank you. But then oh geez, my dog, sorry. But then I also wrote like a personal note and I thanked them in the mail. Personal notes go a long way. When I go on a listing appointment and I leave, I send them a personal note in the mail. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to have a great conversation with you about listing your house. I look forward to, if you know you're getting the listing, or if you don't, base it off whatever you're going to say, but send them that letter. If you're going up against 3 other realtors, you might get that listing because you sent that letter. You know, you want to be personable, and people do business with people that they like. So personal notes go such a long way. I don't know if you get mail. If you don't, when somebody sends you a card in the mail, it hits differently because you're so used to getting like spam or bills. So when someone sends you something and it's a nice letter, I don't know, at least it hits me differently. I love letters and I love mail. So so yeah, try that with your clients. If you have a co-broke, now again, passive income, you're trying to add to your downline, send them a card. You don't have to send them a Dunkin' Donut gift card. You know, no other co-broke is sending them a card. Hey, I had a great transaction with you, would love to do business with you again, whatever you want to say. If they ever come to Keller Williams, they're going to remember you. You know, tell your team leader, hey, I just had a great closing with them. I sent them a personal note. Now you're giving them a referral to get them in the building. And guess what? Now you have somebody in your downline. And if your market center is profitable, you're getting profit share. So those are just some things that you should be doing every day if you're not doing them. Set yourself apart from the realtor on the side of you because there's so many of us out there. And what are you going to do to be different? What are you going to do to be noticed? So anyone have any questions? I'll stay on till whenever. I'll talk with you. I'll answer any questions. If not, I feel like I talked a lot. I apologize if you got nothing from this. I hope you take one thing from it. So yeah, anyone have any questions?
Thank you very much. It was great.
Cool. I've never done an Ignite before, so I know you guys have had like other presenters before me. You know, so I hope that I was at least somewhat engaging. And you know, like I said, we all start somewhere. Don't be afraid. If you ever need to make a call and your coach is like, call somebody, call me. I love conversations. I'm always trying to have 100 a day. You know what I mean? So this is what we do. We network. If anyone missed anything from the beginning, I saw some people missed it. I got to stop today. You know, I can't go all night, but I'd be happy to talk to you about how I write a winning offer or just give you a little more education on offers. You know, just this is what we do. We network. So I love that. I want to take a screenshot of that. Best class yet. That's really cool. I hope to get into coaching one day. I do a lot of coaching right now for my market center and I do it for free. I hope to be a MAPS coach in like 10 years from now. So again, I don't charge for coaching. I'm a resource. Utilize me. Yeah, I'd love to help you guys get from where you want to be. I had an agent that was going to give up her license. I said, she was on a team. I said, work with me. I know you're new and you're supposed to go in productivity, but before you get frustrated, work with me. And she's had about 5 closings since November of last year. So I'm not bragging, but sometimes if you have a coach and like if you're using a MAPS coach and they just don't seem like they're a coach for you, like it's okay, just get a different one. You know what I mean? There's so many leaders and agents in these offices that you just might not be a good fit with one person, but you know, you can change that up. What's up, Veronica?
Could you provide a QR code, please?
Should I
For
what?
tonight? Provide QR code for the feedback.
Oh, let me see. I didn't know there was one of those.
Yeah, we usually do.
There is one? Oh, maybe it's this?
Yes. this is-
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Thank you so much. That's cool. So yeah, you can
Yeah.
go on and leave some feedback for me. That'd be cool. As we
Mhm.
know, any type of feedback is great. And I love criticism too. Like again, if someone criticizes you, don't cry. Like I'm not a crier, so maybe I shouldn't say don't cry, but like that's the only way you're gonna learn. That's how you're gonna get growth. So maybe my criticism is I talk too fast, and I know I'm working on that. I'm trying to slow it down. Sometimes I swear, but we're human, so I'm trying to work on that. I don't know. Yeah.
When you have so many tasks, you speak so quickly because you have so much experience and so much to share. That's why you speak so quickly and try to share so much with us. That's what
I
I really
know.
appreciate it.
I'm very passionate about what I do, and sometimes I'll talk loud and people think I'm crazy, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm just so passionate, you know?" But yeah, I love this stuff. I can talk your ear off all day long.
So
You
will you be
know,
teaching other classes like other ignites this week?
I can
Will
see
you
if
be
there's any open, to be honest. I was kind of nervous to teach it, so I waited until the end. I don't know if there's any left. I can ask them, and if there is, I'll definitely sign up because this was cool.
Yeah, this is the last week for, I mean, for this
Yeah.
ignite. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And I know some people like the speed. They like classes to be done and get out before 8. So I think we were done at 7:30 and I had said to people, "Hey, if you want to leave, go ahead." You know what I mean? I respect everyone's time. I know time is money. Anytime I take a
Just
class,
so
I'm
many
always
tips to miss. It's so many
yeah.
tips to it's just yeah.
Cool, cool. I'm glad. I'm glad I hear that. And
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
you're very welcome. Anyone have any more questions?
And what is the course today? Is it
So
16?
today
16?
was making and receiving offers, I think. I know I should probably know the name, right? Make and
What is
receive
the?
offers.
Oh, okay. 17.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's dark out. You guys can barely see me. I'm sorry. My house is loud. I got 2 teenagers, so I literally have to come outside. So I'm not getting all that background noise.
I'm just wondering, I was a little bit late to the series, but is there a place I can get a recording of the full
Yeah.
um
Yep. So they told me I didn't realize this, but they recorded this, right? And so I'm like, oh my God, people are gonna be able to watch it afterwards. And they were like, yep. So they will have this recording. So that's great too. For anyone that did miss it, I'm all saying I'll teach it again to you. There is a recording on it. So I don't know what they do, if they email it to you or if you have to email them and say you were late or something. But they do record it and they will get it out to you.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Do I do any command trainings? No, but I can. I can definitely do some command trainings because I do SMOT plans. I run campaign ads. So Janice Green, if you need any, I'll find you. Oh, okay, cool. Janice REO. And I can see too if I can get everyone's like email who was here today, and I can reach out to you all as well. But yeah, Jamie Willis, I'll reach out to you guys, and I can do some Zoom trainings for sure. So I'm in and it'd probably be easier for you guys to reach out to me. I always create more work for myself. So I'm in the Fall River Market Center. I'm from Fall River, Mass. Um, Keller Williams, South Watuppa. People make fun of our names, Watuppa. It's funny. It's a big body of water that our office is right near. But my number is 508-863-5889. Text me or email me. And even if you wanted to like talk weekly about things, or maybe I'll do bi-weekly, I can do I don't know, I can just kind of talk to you guys and offer you some free training and mentorship. Um, so I sent you my stuff. Just reach out to me. And we can take it from there with whatever you guys need and whatever you want to do. I role play with people. You can call me and ask me about cold calling. I love cold calling and getting yelled at and getting hung up on half the time. So I can really break in with that too. Yeah, you're welcome. So, all right. Well, it seems like that's pretty much it. If I'm actually, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this. So yeah, if anyone does have anything, feel free to call me, text me. I'm around even tonight. I probably have about 10 missed calls from people in my office and text. So if you need anything, let me know. I'm around. All right, so I'm gonna end this. I gotta just figure out how, but yeah, see ya. Bye, everybody. And this was great. Thank you.
You're the best.
Thank you. Thank you.